you go to expand, how quickly you become profitable depends really two things. How expensive is your lead generation lever, and how long on average does it take to close? So if you're, for instance, like in Gubernick, when he expanding with short sales, take a long time to close, and the lever for that was radio, very expensive. And here's what I want people to hear. If you aren't highly profitable, you could have what happened to Brian. Last December, he's in 4 different locations. Scottsdale had a bad month in December. Portland had a bad month in December. Seattle had a bad month in December. And Michigan had a bad month. So all of a sudden, all of your expansion locations have a bad month in the same month, and you aren't highly profitable and have liquid assets. Your original hub in particular. So I want to make sure that people understand that, and first of all, let me say that all of his locations were highly profitable last year. But you just need to make sure that if you did have a bad month, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, what if they all had a bad month in the same month? And so you just need to make sure that the mistake I see is that people don't think about that ahead of time. They don't think what's the worst thing that could ever happen and make sure that they have reserve for that. And so when you begin to expand, it's important that you have 2 things in addition to the who. Do you have a lead generation system that will produce predictable results? And do you have enough profitability that you actually have the ability to expand?
What's profitability, and what should a person have in terms of revenue and when it comes to sales volume?
It's really not about the volume. I mean, you don't have to be a 7th level team to expand. You do have to have a lead generation that produces predictable results. And what that profits look like? You have $1 set aside to expand. Does that $150,000? No, not unless you have a highly expensive lead generation lever. But he wants you to have the money set aside so that you are never going to jeopardize your hub. Now, I can just tell you that most teams are profitable within 4 to 6 months. So let's assume, I would also say on average, if you're using the typical lead generation methods, you're probably going to be spending $3,000 a month. So the chances that you're going to be spending a lot of money on expansion before you get profitable is unlikely. But at the same time, so that you don't jeopardize your business, having that money set aside in advance will allow you to expand with confidence that you truly do have a hub location that produces enough profitability for you to be expanding, and that you've got the lead generation method that actually produces predictable results.
Okay, so you're talking about like core capital requirements. This is a business term, and most businesses, and real estate people in particular, don't know exactly how much they have to keep in their account to run their business. And so would you say 6 months worth of lead generation?
Oh, sure, at a minimum. I would say at a minimum. I mean, think about this. It's interesting. If you look across like the top 500 franchises in the U.S. restaurant, looking at Subway, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, the average money that you need initially is anywhere from $750,000 to $2.5 million that
Right.
you have to have. Do you know the average profitability of those companies were last year per location?
No idea.
66,000. 66,000.
Hmm.
Do you know what the average profitability of an expansion team is within 2 years? 150,000. So do you see that the barriers to entry in terms of cash and money set aside is completely different, and yet your upside, your potential for profit is much, much higher. And what's your risk? See, if you're a McDonald's, you have to risk all of, you have bricks and mortar. There's a lot that you're risk with the expansion, and with the Keller Williams Distribution Center, it's the operating partner and the investors in the other location have put up the bricks and mortar. They have the broker in charge. They have the E&O insurance, and they have the financial system in order to distribute the commission dollars. And so, when you think about it, it's a low risk proposition with low barriers to entry, but at the same time having enough profit set aside where you don't jeopardize your original hub is really key.